Hey players, y'all know this is the day a lot of us have been waiting for, honey, and it has been a lot going on today, honey. So y'all need to grab your tea and have a seat because I'm ready to spill it all. So today was the big day, honey. Today was the day that Frumpy to the motherfucking dump had to scurry his ass on down there to the Manhattan DA and turn himself in, honey. And he did just that. But I'll tell you this, before he got there, he made several, and I mean several posts on Truth Social. And according to reports, honey, some of those posts that he made actually made it into the courtroom. I declare, honey, what a disgrace. So before Frumpy Dump made his way on down there to turn himself in, honey, as we know, Mustard to the Must Pop Marjorie had a rally scheduled in New York City at Collect Pond Park, honey. She said for everybody to gather their MAGA hats and show up and show out at 10:30 for Frumpy to the motherfucking dump. So there was one person that was anticipating Mustard to the Must Pop Marjorie's arrival, honey, and that was the mayor of NYC, Eric Adams, honey. And he held a press conference yesterday where he warned Mustard to the Must Pop Marjorie to not pull any bullshit and to be on her best behavior. And there was also this emergency noise demo sent out to people warning them that Mustard to the Must Pop Marjorie was coming to town and they needed to sound out her hate speech. So they told people to bring instruments, pots and pans and whatever well-wish whistles they had for Mustard to the Must Pop Marjorie. And there was people down there too.
Marjorie Taylor Greene is coming to the city right here, so we brought some whistles to hand out to people to drown her out with some noise.
Baby, if there was any MAGA mice there, Mustard Marjorie never got a chance to see him, honey, because she was out there for all of 2 minutes before she scurried her ass on back to her vehicle. It couldn't have happened to a more deserving person.
The government has been weaponized against him. I'm here to protest and use my voice to take a stand. Every American should take a stand. This is what happens in communist countries, not the United States of America. Come back to Georgia!
No, she didn't think she was going to come to the concrete jungle with all those shenanigans. I love it. So Eric Adams hurt Mustard to the Must Pop Marjorie's feelings, honey. And so she went on to Steve Bannon's podcast to voice her disgust and disdain.
Kinds of instruments to make all kinds of noise to drown me out and drown others here today that are protesting and here supporting President Trump. The mayor of New York City, Mayor Adams, owes me an apology. I'm an elected member of Congress.
And also Jamal came down there to run her ass clean on out of town. I love it.
White supremacy, we are pushing back against that in all its forms. Marjorie Taylor Greene needs to take her ass back to Washington.
After that was over, honey, Frumpy Dump scurried his ass on down there to be arraigned. But during the time he was on his way to the courthouse, he was actually making posts on Truth Social about Alvin Bragg and also about the judge in the case. So there was no media allowed in the courtroom. There was only just a few minutes where they were allowed to snap photos, I'm assuming, at the beginning, and then they were not allowed to have any of their electronic devices. They stated that Frumpy Dump pled not guilty. He verbalized not guilty. They said that the judge told him that he had to speak up, in which he complied and said not guilty. They said there was some discussions about whether the judge was going to place a gag order on the case and was the media going to be allowed in there, but they really didn't get into that. I'm assuming the judge is going to issue a ruling on that at a later date. Which was very important to note for me was the fact that the defense attorneys referred to Frumpy Dump as former President Frumpy to the motherfucking dump. However, the clerk of court actually referred to Frumpy Dump as Donald Trump. Also, according to sources, the prosecution brought up some of Frumpy Dump's rhetoric on social media. They actually brought in some of those Truth Social posts that he had made where he was threatening the judge. Well, you know, where he was saying things about the judge, and he was also saying things about Alvin Bragg. And according to reports, honey, that needs to stop, and that needs to stop expeditiously. So Frumpy Dump was indicted on 34 counts of falsifying business records, honey, in the first degree, which are felonies. In the indictment, they say that Frumpy Dump falsified New York business records in order to conceal damaging information and unlawful activity from American voters before and after the 2016 election. During the election, Frumpy Dump and others employed in a catch and kill scheme to identify, purchase, and bury negative information about him to boost his electoral prospects. Frumpy Dump then went to great lengths to hide this conduct, causing dozens of false entries in business records to conceal criminal activity, including attempts to violate state and federal election laws. So the prosecution is alleging from August 2015 to December of 2015, Frumpy Dump orchestrated his catch and kill scheme through a series of payments that he then concealed through months of false business entries. There was one instance where America Media Inc. Paid $30,000 to a former Trump Tower doorman who claimed to have a story about a child Trump had out of wedlock. Now, David Pecker was the CEO of America Media Inc. until August of 2020. He was the publisher of the National Enquirer, and he testified before the grand jury back in January of 2023. And he's going to turn out to be a huge witness. Now, a lot of people was thinking it was going to be Michael Cohen, honey, but it turns out it may be David Pecker because he has this information about Frumpy Dump allegedly trying to kill these stories in the media. In a second instance, AMI paid $150,000 to a woman who alleged that she had an ooey-gooey relationship with Frumpy Dump. When Frumpy Dump directed a lawyer who then worked for the Frumpy Dump organization as Frumpy Dump special counsel to reimburse AMI in cash, the special counsel indicated to Frumpy Dump that the payment should be made via a shell company and not cash. AMI ultimately declined to accept the reimbursement after consulting their counsel. Now, AMI later admitted its conduct was unlawful in an agreement with federal prosecutors. Said that they made false entries in its business records concerning the true purpose of the $150,000. Now, that woman is allegedly Karen McDougal. In the third instance, they're going to be talking about the situation with Michael Cohen and Stormy Daniels. They said 12 days before the presidential general election, Michael Cohen wired $130,000 to an attorney for Stormy Daniels, and then Michael Cohen pled guilty and served time in prison for making the illegal campaign contribution, made the payment through a shell corporation funded through a bank in Manhattan. Now, after winning the election, Frumpy Dump allegedly reimbursed Michael Cohen through a series of monthly checks, first from the Frumpy Dump Revocable Trust created in New York to hold the Frumpy Dump organization's assets during his presidency, and then later through Frumpy Dump's personal bank account. In a total, 11 checks were issued for phony purposes. 9 of those checks were signed by Frumpy Dump. Each check was processed by the Frumpy Dump organization and illegally disguised as payment for legal services rendered for non-existent services. I declare what a disgrace. Not him signing the check. This is ridiculous and a high boo-boo shitty mess. So after it was over, Frumpy Dump left and scurried his ass on back to Mar-a-Lago, where he's expected to speak tonight. He may be doing it now for all I know. Now, Alvin Bragg did hold a press conference. Everything was pretty much, he brought the charges when it was his time to bring the charges, and he kind of laid out, what I just said, basically. Now, I don't know if Frumpy Dump is going to lay off the rhetoric on Devil is a Lie Social, but I know one thing's for certain and two things for sure. His children are not, because here we go with Frumpy Dump Jr. showing a picture of the judge's daughter, alleging that she worked for President Biden. And Eric Trump actually followed suit and did the same thing. This is ridiculous, and it's, in my opinion, they should be in trouble for it. This is intimidation. Nobody is saying nothing to Clarence Thomas and his wife. I mean, we all know about Jenny. Players, put your thoughts in the comments. Let me know what you're thinking. I know this is long. I normally don't do this, but wanted to get it all out. This is Double D Mobile for the Black Accurate News.